hardest thing you had to learn in this process, or maybe you're still learning? What was the hardest thing?
I was always a kid that would give up, you know?
Really?
Like when things got tough, I'd be like, I can't do it.
Mm.
And I didn't want to play catch up.
Mm.
And I did that since I was a kid. And once I started learning how to believe that I was good at it, then I would stick to it. But as I mentioned before, and I'll say it time and time again because it's the most important thing, I didn't do that on my own. You know? People helped me to believe that I was okay at this.
So that was a turning point for you?
That was a big turning point. Meeting House was a turning point.
Right.
That was a turning point, you know, where my dad and me weren't getting along. I wasn't in college. I didn't go to school in this way. I didn't know what I was going to do. What am I going to do?
Right.
You know, he comes and he goes, you can do anything you want to do. Look at you. You're doing some good stuff, man. Like, you're super talented. What? Really? Yeah. Okay. Try things, fail, give up. Hey, come on, wake up. Let's go. Let's go to the club. Let's get down.
So you needed some kind of encouragement.
Encouragement.
Right?
Yeah,
Right.
you needed encouragement. You needed someone rooting for you. Support in 3 ways, right? From up top, pulling you when you're ready to give up.
Yeah.
From the side, running next to you. You got this. Come on, I'm with you.
Right.
From down below, pushing you. These ways. And I had that.
Wow, that's a lot of support.
Yeah.
But I think if you are open for that, then you can create the surroundings, right? But if you're not aware of the possibility of the power of such a connection and encouragement, then you're constantly searching, and the mirror can be a lie. So what took it for you, or what was the moment that you said, okay, I will stop doing this and I will find these people or the encouragement to get it out of myself?
That's a big one. I don't think there was one moment, because it keeps changing. Because as I grow and I'm learning new things, my fears change.
Right.
You know, I have to find myself in a new way. You know, even more recently, just, you know, from my past relationship and trying to move away from that. You know, like, I had to find other ways to find healing.
Right.
And I didn't know how to do that. Not until one of my best friends, Rena, and my girlfriend now, you know, was like, just, it's hard to put it in words, but someone who can make you feel so light, you know, like, re-energize you, where you feel like you can do anything, when you're just flying.
Just through conversation.
Through conversation,
Right.
you know, or just through sitting in the same room. We don't have to talk about anything, you know?
Just being.
Just because you're okay, Rashaad. It's all right. It's all right. Let's heal with this.
Nice.
So that's more recent stuff. And this is like really personal, but, you know,
It's okay.
Who am I if I don't share that? And this is the point of, I feel like my thing is, I try to be as honest as I can. I'm not always as honest as I want to be. Sometimes I hold it back. But I try to be
human, right?
Yeah. But vulnerability is really important.
But hard.
It is hard, but
Yeah.
you gotta accept that challenge.
Yeah, true.
You gotta be vulnerable.
Right.
If you're not, if you're guarded all the time, you just guard your way into a corner.
So you have to make mistakes, right?
Got to.
Right.
That's the whole point. But from those mistakes, there's so many learning experiences.
Yeah.
You can move forward. And you're not always able to see where forward is. But you have to be okay with that. Because if you can't see it, someone else has the foresight for you.
Right.
Or your ancestors are working, you know, and they got you. At some point, you got to trust in something. And I don't want to tell you exactly what that is, or anybody what that is for you. Here's a way that worked for me. Right. Here's a way. Give you an option.
Okay.
You know.
Back to the dance. I was looking up some clips, and I was looking up some old stuff, and I think 6, 7 years ago, I watched some clips and I saw you do some stuff in a hall like in a house, but in the hallway in a. You were standing in a door with some jeans on. Do you remember the clip? You must.
Am I wearing a do-rag?
Yeah.
Oh
we were
my
wearing a
God.
do-rag, but
Okay.
but for me at that time,
Uh-huh.
when I started out, I was like, whoa, this dude, he has something different. He is apart from. For me, it looked like boogaloo, right? But apart from that, it looked like dance, and that inspired me. The dance that I saw, you were doing like rolls and isolations, but what I saw was dance or groove or whatever you want to call it, and that was a big thing that inspired me. And if I look up clips from later clips, not from you, but whoever, it looks more like movement, and it's okay to look like movement, but for me it inspired that I saw the dance. What can you say about the dance that I saw under the movement? Or
So I grew up dancing as a kid.
Right.
Like it was something that was like ever present, you know, in my neighborhood in Harlem and in Queens. And but my mom and dad danced around the house, and there was just a lot of music playing. So it was kind of like, it was so cultural. It was so deep in that way. That thing I think is carried. So every time I move, I'm hearing and I'm responding. I listen to that song. Oh, it makes me feel like this, and I bring out the color of the song. The swings change, just depends on what track it is. You know, at that time in particular, I was very much inspired. I think that clip was from 2003 or 2004, actually. And I was very much inspired by the Electric Boogaloo.
right.
So I was doing that. I had the hush puppies on, the white hush puppies with the jeans. Yeah. And so, yeah, I was trying to use that aesthetic, but still in a way that that the music made sense to me.
Right.
So.
And how did you got to the other styles, like the Bay Area style, strutting, and like more of your own style? Later on, I noticed that your hit became different, not specifically more powerful, but it looked more powerful, or you could integrate it in more things, and suddenly you were on the ground and dancing on the ground, not only moving but really like dancing on the ground, up and down, up and it was very dynamic at a certain point. When did that happen?
So that change started in 2005, actually.
Right.
I went from wearing hush puppies to wearing sweats and some sneakers and t-shirts and just trying to experiment with characters. I was pushed to go to the clubs way more often, and in the clubs is where I didn't have to feel the pressure of like winning some type of battle. Right. It was cypher battles. It was dancing with different types of movers, from house dancers and lockers and b-boys and b-girls, and so when you're exposed to a lot of different types of movement, it kind of makes you want to experiment, take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that. Let me see what it looks like if I do this. And with that came a lot of different changes. I'm a person who tends to research a lot. Like I'm always searching for something that no one else has seen. You know, I'm looking for clips or listening for songs that no one has ever heard before. Right. And in that, I find I create a lot of change for myself, because I'll see the step and I'll go, oh, let me try that. Oh, well, let me flip that, and I'm flipping it immediately. So just as fast as I'm learning a tradition, is just as fast as I'm learning to innovate from it. So my changes happen pretty quickly. Right. You know, most of the clips that I have on the internet are usually not the same. I have some blow up moves that I use, and those things will be in there. But then in between it, it's like different stuff. So the Bay I started learning in 2007 when I moved to San Francisco, Hunters Point. I met Harry Berry street performing at Pier 39.
Right.
Actually, he battled Ryan that day. It was like one round, and he did this move. He laid back, hit this wave, and came up into the W. And I was like, all right, this is over, you know. But from then, I would take trips down to where he would street perform. I'd give him a couple bucks, and I would ask him questions, you know. And he dropped a lot of different knowledge on me about San Francisco strutting and how it was connected to Oakland Boogaloo and how things shifted from the Bay down to LA. And then his personal story. More recently, or maybe a year or two after that, I met Pop Tart, Lonnie Green. And we stayed in connection, but I think more after I met him in person, or I brought him to DC, and I think that was 2012. And from there, like, it was just like I needed to get more of that in my system. But so there's been a lot of different evolution of movement. Also learning from Damon, Thomas, and Steen.
Was that at the same era?
It was all similar times, yeah.
So a lot of information.
A lot of information was happening in a 4 or 5 year period.
Wow.
You know, and I was just kind of like, all right, I got to do this big shoot down that Damon was showing me with this tuck pattern that Steen showed us, go into slow motion, but I want to strut out of that, you know. And I was like mixing and matching movement, you know. At the same time, learning locking and house and doing hip hop, and so yeah, man, I'm a groover, like, naturally. I just take it all in.
So you were dancing all day, every day, right?
Pretty much, yeah. It doesn't stop up here. It's just always going.
But that's what you see, because when you move it for everybody who looks really natural, you see that you have to do it often, all the time, or you have to think about it all the time. How can you learn from taking all these inspirations and all the information, because it's a lot, and nowadays when you go on look at things on YouTube or online, there's so much. How can we still say, okay, the strutting comes from, for example, the Bay, and you have like LA popping, or how can we separate it but still integrate it like you did when we want to learn, right?
Treat it like school. Carry some books with you. Compartmentalize it. Organize your thoughts. You know, write it down per page. You know, and this is a big secret, right? But this is Electric Boogaloo. They have Twisto, Masterflex, Neko, Romeo, Roman, this, and then the list go on. And write it. Put the counts to the moves if you have to, you know, and then do the same for everything that you learn. Just like you would
like a book.
Oh, I've got tons of books,
really?
And I carry them with me everywhere I go. And if I don't put it in the book, then I put it in my phone. You know, if I don't do that, then I'm calling Future. I'm going, hey, yo, this move, I just learned it, and then he'll write it down. You know, but I'm finding ways to help me to retain the movement, document these things. Once I do that, then I put it in practice. I just go out and I apply it. You know. Either in the house or sessions, you know, we go to jams or we go club, and we just try these things out and treat it like a sample. So if you want to get, you know, Bay Area step with an Electric Boogaloo step, then you take half of each and then you put it. If you want to splice it more, then you take, you know, just a quarter of one and a quarter of another, and then a quarter of this and a quarter of that, and that creates a whole different thing.
And make it your own, right?
Make it your own thing.
Nice.
As long as you tell people what the resource is, that's important, right?
Right. So you really study. You really
constantly
study, right? And is there another way?
I'm sure other people have another way. This is the way that I know that works for me.
Right.
And we use it inside a system that we call Funk and Focus, where we carry traditions, and then we have applications that basically teach you how to respond based on situations. You know, help you think conceptually, or put you in a box. You know, tell you, all right, if you have no hands, how do you tut? You know, things like this, which is like, okay, you can't tut without hands.
Right.
What if you didn't have hands? How would you do it?
Right.
You know, and it might seem really far-fetched, but if you try it, you might stumble on something that you never did before. And that's the goal. Let's stumble on something that you never did before, and then say repeat it, and now it becomes a thing.
Right. So it becomes a strength.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Nice. Okay. Let's keep it at the dance. We talked about like the Bay Area and LA.
Mm.
What are the main differences
Mm.
when we talk about popping?
So I'm from neither of these places, but when I visit people that I've talked to and how I research, like it's the main differences are going to be sometimes in timing, in characterization, in the names of some of the steps. It's all those nuances, you
Right.
know. I think that the dances are all related, different names, different dialects, and creates the step makes it move. You know, taking even like the Fresno and the slot, you
Right.
know, people go to Fresno and they have this lighter swing to it. At least nowadays, back in the day, you seen it was a little bit different.
Right.
But then you look at John Murphy go,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's got a way more of a robotic approach,
Yeah,
but it's
right.
still got this funky, heavy swing on it.
Mhm.
It's the same step, and just going side to side.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So the differences I think are just really small, you know.
Okay.
So it's just nuances like different ways to bend to saying the word. It's a dialect.
Okay. So some people say Bay Area, we call it strutting. Some people say LA style is like more of a harder style of popping. So when we talk about the nuances, it's like how you perceive things and how you want to project it, right? Is that the way we can look at it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if we grow up in two different places, the perception is going to be different, and that's okay.
Right.
You know, LA has a really huge gang culture. You
Right.
know, up north in the Bay, there's crews and there's gangs, but there's also a big thing with pimping. It's a thing of being real kind of cool.
You
And
see
so
it in the dance.
You
too,
see it
right?
in the dance,
Right.
you know,
in
and
the
so
movement and the clothes.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. But they have them pimps and that coolness down there too. I mean, this is just a very like Black American, Latin American thing, you know, to carry those types of characters in those neighborhoods.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it just depends on what you think is hard. Some hard up in the Bay would be to move kind of like, boom, ooh, that's hard.
Right.
Whereas, you know, hard in LA, it's like, wham, wham, bam,
Right,
bam.
right.
But that would be hard in the Bay too. If you look at Kearney's hitting like that, and people are going, damn, that's hard. What is that? You
Right.
know, so yeah, man.
So when when we look at the time, it's already almost that time to stop.
Uh huh.
But I still have a lot of things I want to ask
Yeah.
but it's short the time. So the main thing that do you have a main message do you want to say to the audience, because this is gonna go worldwide, and so what is your thing?
My thing is just keep your mind open, you know, like be respectful of other people's approaches, you know, like don't impose your approach on someone else, you know, like allow them to invite you into that, you know,
Right.
and you do the same. Like if we can connect in this way, then we can get somewhere together. There's enough room for us all to be here and to be sharing perspectives. We can organize that way, and then we grow forward.
Nice.
You know,
Good
so
message.
yeah,
Where can we see Rashaad in 10 years?
man, I'm thinking 20, 30 years, you know, you'll see me through other people. You know, you'll hear a perspective through my kids, you know.
Right.
10 years from now, man, I would hope that my maturity would change. I hope that I have gained a little bit more wisdom, more education. But my path is still to just be a farmer. You know, I want to help people grow. I want to help, you know, teach people how to help other people grow.
Right.
You know,
Nice.
that's what my mentor gave me. That's what I'm going to give to other people.
So this is kind of your perspective. Did we covered it a little bit?
Yeah, this is, I think, my purpose. I think this is what, at least for now, in this perspective that I have today,
Right.
where I want to go and what I want to give to the world. So,
Rashaad, thank you very much. Appreciate the conversation.
Yeah,
Because
man.
it was more than a Q&A. Thank you for like really have the conversation itself and see not only the dance but a little bit of the person and the perspective, of course. So thank you very much.
yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Awesome.
There it is, Rashaad Pearson.